Good morning. It's Saturday, the 18th of September, 2021. You see that cloud over Pilot Mountain? It's right there. I can see it with human eyes like much clearer, but I want to talk to you about where we're at again. What phase of the operation, if you want to call the Great Awakening operation. It's a spiritual awakening. It's a Jesus created and based awakening. It's political only in that it deals with government, but Jesus obviously deals with government. If you look back in history, Nebuchadnezzar, right? He took Israel captive, probably killed a lot of Jews, but he was God's instrument. And that's what was so hard for the prophets to see. They saw an instrument of destruction coming from the north that was pagan, that was God's instrument to judge his people, who he loved in a way that we can't relate to. We can see America as a God-created entity. We can see that. We can see our forefathers, Plymouth Rock, all that. And we know our own family story if we take the time to learn it. But what we don't see is the kind of things like Moses coming down from the mountain with tablets of stone, hand of God writing on stone. No man could do that. Israel had the oracles of God. Israel had the Torah. They had Moses. They had David, the king that killed all the enemies, right? They had David and Goliath. They had Abraham. We don't have those direct patriarchal connections. We have them as a derivative of those things many years after the ascension of Jesus. But of all the nations on the earth, I would say today, 2021, we have the most Christian heritage. We know Russia has a Christian heritage. We know Sweden has a Christian heritage. Germany has Christian heritage. Switzerland has a Christian heritage. France has if you look at the Reformation, right? As far as China is concerned, we don't really know too much about the history of China other than the dynasties, right? Christianity and China don't necessarily have an intimate connection. Missionaries have gone there over the last 100 years with varying levels of success. What's happening now is a Chinese-based revival. Chinese people preaching to Chinese people. Same thing in Iran and other parts of the world that are under persecution. So today, with fear and trembling, we come to the reality that the evil we fight is all about one thing: killing off our forefathers, our grandparents. It's about wiping out people who are old, and sadly, the people that voted for evil, the poor that were told who to vote for, and they just did it in lockstep, so they keep getting their federal money or status or healthcare or whatever, checks. These people are useless to evil. They are not productive. So the thought I have today is, let's really dig deep into the idea that what does this world look like without 200 million Americans, if indeed they want to come in against us? China's on our borders. They got their military on the Mexican border and the Chinese on the Canadian border. Let's say they're in Texas practicing, or Pennsylvania. That was the one thing I heard. They were in Pennsylvania practicing military exercises. What does China do with a reduced population of America and a destroyed economy? What does it do with it? Other than having land, does it put Chinese people here? What do they do without a capitalistic economy, without a true history? Like, we have a history here of our forefathers coming here. We're protecting the prayers and the hopes and the dreams of our forefathers. We've got a lot more to fight for. They have nothing to fight for other than to do the will of their government. And they're not coming here to raise a family. They're coming here to just simply do the will of the government or the will of the evil cabal, which has nothing to do with them personally as humans. They're just robots. They're useful idiots. Just like Antifa, just like Black Lives Matter. They're useful idiots. The people in the streets causing the chaos have no place in the future of America. They're just chaos creators. So when we think about all this, we got to remember we're going to win simply on the merit of humanity being human. This is a war between AI and human. DNA that's divinely constructed, DNA that's humanly constructed. Transhumanism versus human, just like in the days of David. Goliath represented an existential threat to the life and the future of Israel because he was transhuman. You got to remember, why is he a giant? They messed with his DNA, therefore he hated God. He wasn't born of 100% human origin. So when David spoke evil of him and his blasphemies, and he said, I'm going to cut your head off, he's cutting the head off of Satan's creation, which is not human. It's not murder. He's destroying, like your body, when bioweapon come into your body is saying, get out of here, your immune system. So we build up our immune system to defend our humanity. That's what we're doing today. We're defending our humanity when we fight this medical tyranny. And we want our children to be safe, human, to carry forward the heritage of our fathers, the pure DNA. I mean, we don't know. I mean, people are going to construct all these things like we're all a little bit of transhuman. I don't care. I love Jesus, and I couldn't do that if I was transhuman. So let's remember that cloud to me represents the presence of the Lord. I had a great miracle happen in 2006 on July 22nd with a cloud. I'm allowed as a human to look at that cloud and say, that represents the presence of God. It is beautiful. I live in Pilot Mountain, and we're taking that mountain back for Jesus. We're on a good mission. It's a heavenly mission. It's not an earthly mission. It's not about politics per se. It's about reconstructing the earth, giving the kingdom of God its place rightfully on the earth. The earth, the dirt belongs to Jesus. The air, it also belongs to Jesus, but Satan lies are coming out of the air, out of the atmosphere, from demonic forces, through electronic media, through visual displays of watching satanic worship, which could be represented in music. All of these things are representing the kingdom of darkness. And they enter the mind, the eye gate, just like Eve at the tree, right? She sees the fruit, it's good for food. But it was gonna destroy her. So the eye gate and the ear gate was what Satan used, and he still does it today, obviously. He's great at it. He's a tremendous deceiver. So the only way you're gonna win is to be aware of his deception. You have to put on the armor of God, and you have to pray with all prayer. That's how you win. There is no easy path to winning against this spiritual attack, against the world, against humanity, against the faith, against the gospel. And we will win because we have Jesus, King Jesus, on our side.